energy that you carry, you don't have to go anywhere in particular to meet wealthy men. Those are the strategies that you hear on TikTok, on YouTube. But what they miss telling you is high value men, and I said it on my Instagram yesterday, high value men are extremely intelligent. They're extremely smart. They know when you're running gay, okay? It's not like they're stupid. And it's interesting how a lot of these coaches online are teaching like these men are just stupid because they're mixing up a high value man with a high earning man, that his value only comes from how much money he has. But high value men, my love, are highly intelligent. You like my mug? I'm getting ready to have the design changed. Men, the art of vetting men, and why, my love, you should actually do it. So if you don't see me looking at the cameras, because I'm looking at my computer, because I have a lot of notes that I want to share with you today. But let's start with this. Vetting a man starts with you knowing who you are. Not what you've accomplished, not what your body looks like, not your physical aesthetic. It's actually knowing what and who you are. See, when you guys are like looking in magazines or Googling on YouTube, asking questions like what questions to ask a man on a date, or how to find out if a man is wealthy and all of these things, what you're saying is, I haven't identified who I am as a woman yet. So I would rather get information from somebody else in their needs and their list, and I apply it to me. So then when you go out with these men and you're going off of this list, you're still not satisfied over here because this list has nothing to do with the authentic you. Let me know if that made sense in the chat. So now you're equipped with a lot of questions to ask, but are they in alignment with you? That's why when I'm on my Instagram and a lot of times folks ask me questions, well, Mr. Mason, what do you do with this? I'm like, I don't know, I can't give you my answer. That's my answer. What do you look for in a man? That's my answer. Because if I give you my answer, you're going to start looking for those things, but you haven't vetted yourself enough to know what your core needs are. So now you make it like the easy part. You know, it makes it real easy to ask somebody else versus sitting down and figuring out just how fabulous you are. Okay, did you guys say it makes sense? Let's see. Okay, good. Okay, you guys, you're listening. Perfect. Awesome. So when you start trying to vet a man and you don't know who you are, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because you're vetting him on this identity over here and he might match that, but then you get like, wait a minute, but he's not what I want. And not saying that he's not a good man, because he could be very well a good man, but he's not your good man because he's not in alignment with your core needs. You haven't identified your core needs to be able to verbalize them. So, but you feel them. Your body will always feel them, and your body will start feeling uncomfortable. Even though this is a good man, Savannah, he is not your good man because he fit the list of the things that you have been asking him, the basic questions, but it's still not enough. Anybody ever experienced that? It's like, he's a really great guy. Why can't I connect with him? Like, what? It's not like he's bad. It's not like he's doing anything wrong. It's not like he's doing any of this stuff, but it's something off. So it could be that, or let's go a little deeper over here. He could be your good man, but you don't know how to determine the difference from fear and intuition. Now that's a whole nother ballgame. Oh, y'all saying, oh, yeah, well. Okay. That's where it gets sticky. Is it me, or Are we just not a good match? Is it me because I'm not accustomed to being treated well? And this man is treating me well, but there's something within me that says, I don't know if I'm good enough or worthy enough for this wonderful treatment. Bloop, I didn't walk down somebody's aisle with that one. I didn't walk down somebody's street with that one. Yes, come on, somebody. So this is a great man. But because you're used to the pushing and the fighting and the not calling me back and the chasing and that anxious energy, here comes a man who shows up when he says he's going to show up. He calls when he says he's going to call. He picks you up. He makes plans. He checks on you during the day. But guess what happens? Girl, you get bored. You get bored, my love. And it's like, then it becomes, girl, something don't feel right. You on the phone with your friend. Girl, he's real nice and everything, but it's just something off. Well, girl, what's wrong? Well, every time I call him, he's there. You know, if I need anything, he's right there. Girl, listen, he always check on me. I'm like, is he thirsty or something? Because he always checks on me during the day. Even when he at work, I'm like, bruh, aren't you supposed to be at work? Why are you checking on me? Okay, girl, so I don't know. He might be a little bit too clingy. You know, I'm not sure, you know, but it's something off about it. Maybe he's narcissistic and he's trying to love bomb. Maybe his toxic trait is being, you know, an overgiver. So, this sound like me. Oh, Vanessa, huh? Yes, yes. I can see a lot of you ladies in the chat understanding that this could be you. So, how do you know the difference? It goes back to what I said earlier, knowing who you are and what you want. Where's my list? I have a list of how to find and identify your core needs. And it's just little things that you can write down that can help you find what your core needs are. Here's my little PDF. I created my little PDF. Okay, let's see. You need to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel seen, and to feel heard. Okay. I always say that, you know, women with these long lists, those aren't core needs, those are wants. I believe in the 80-20 rule, but in a different way. People say, why let go of 80% of what you want to get 20% over here? Well, if what I need, my core needs are in the 20%, I'm going to leave. See, here's the key. The 20% of somebody meeting your core needs allows you to deal with the 80% of foolishness they're going to do. Okay. And it doesn't mean, when I say that, doesn't mean it's going bad things. It just means the annoying things, because men are annoying. Okay. They can be annoying and they can be, men are messaging. We're managers. We are managers, honey. And I am not, I tell men all that all the time too. I tell my son-in-law that. I'm like, my daughter manages you. Okay. But they like that. They need that. Okay. So what are your core needs? A human has psychological needs in order to survive. Core needs such as food, shelter, and safety. Humans also require connections with other humans, as well as the opportunity to learn and the potential to fail. So let's focus on the humans also require connection with other humans. So the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I don't know why people try to skip past that and act like romantic love is not a part of that. But what we find is, let me see, what we find with that is people try to, because they've numbed themselves, especially women, they've numbed themselves so much that they will skip past. They will go from they will do the psychological stuff, they'll do the safety stuff, but they won't do the love and belonging stuff. That's on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And when it comes to the love and belonging section, because there's the self-actualization, the esteem, the love and belonging, the safety, and the psychological. So how that looks is the psychological is water, sleep, food, shelter, clothes. That's air. That's the basic necessity. Safety, which is the next basic need, is security of body, health, family, resources, property. Love and belonging is the I am accepted. Connection, relationships, and love. Esteem is confidence, respect, and self-esteem. And then there is the fulfillment, mortality, and creativity side as well. So we're focusing on this hierarchy of needs under the love and belonging. So many women do not know that they belong, that they are deserving for whatever reason, whatever that happened in your life that's caused you to feel this way. Because of this, you subconsciously seek out men who validate how you feel subconsciously about yourself. Let me know if that makes sense. Because if you're constantly getting the same treatment over and over again, there is something within you that makes you feel like I don't deserve a good man. So I'm going to go around in the circle over and over and over and over and over again, complaining about men when I am going around it. I'm going over it. I'm doing anything I have to do not to deal with me. So then it becomes these men, Miss April, but you don't know these men. But it's really not the men. Now, let me say this. And I know a lot of people may not believe this, but I'm going to say it anyway. There are some really amazing men out here, but you cannot see them with the same glasses that you've been wearing. This is why making an identity shift is so doggone important. Because when you make an identity shift, it's like things are revealed to you, it's like, oh my God, it's like buying that new car. I never saw anybody with my car, but now that I have this car, I see everybody with it. Just imagine the fact that there are tons of men waiting on you, but you haven't showed up yet. And now this is the weird side of Miss Mason. This is the weird side. Don't judge me. This is the weird side. I believe that aliens walk among us, but because we cannot, our brains and how we are, the dimension that we're in, we just can't see them. I've always believed that. I believe that there are people on Mars. I believe there's people on all humans. We can't see them with our eye, right? I've always believed that. You have to be in alignment at that perfect time to have an orgasm. When you look at your life, look at it from that perspective. Even in masturbation, you have to, your mind has to be in alignment with whatever that thought is in order to bring that climax. That's how your life has to be, okay? So anytime you're not getting what you want, think about it as an orgasm. In order to get the orgasm, you have to be in alignment, right? Every time, whether you are having sex with someone or whether it's masturbation, you have to be in alignment. The orgasm is nothing more than a manifestation of the alignment. That makes sense? Okay. So anytime anything is out of place in your life, because here's the deal, you know that orgasms exist. Okay, we know they exist. What type of alignment do I have to be in to get that? So take that analogy through everything else that you do. Now, this was a whole nother piece on manifestation, child. I wasn't supposed to talk about this, but I go where I'm led. I go where I'm led. So when you are going through your day-to-day life and you're meeting men, right? And it's not connecting. It's either him or it's you out of alignment. And normally it's you, because if you were in alignment, you wouldn't even be doing it. Okay. So it's very, very, very important for you to understand that vetting a man has more to do with your alignment than anything. Okay. How do you get in alignment with you? It's knowing your core needs. And I found mine is imperative. It's imperative. You have to decide what type of lifestyle that you want. See, sometimes women get caught up in chemistry, and I got a vibe, it just feel good with being with him. But he's not in alignment with the type of lifestyle that you want. You have to be willing to walk away and understand that just because we vibing, just because we're compatible, and just because we have chemistry, it does not mean our lifestyle is compatible. I've met some really great men throughout my lifetime. And I will say this, I don't deal with men that have little children unless he has enough money. He's wealthy enough to have a full-time au pair or a full-time nanny, and the children lives with their mother. That's the only exception, okay? So I've met some really wonderful men. I'm like, oh my God, why did he have to have some children? But because of my commitment to my lifestyle, I had to walk away. And sometimes you get caught up in, oh, the feeling of, oh my God, you know, these, you know, he's so wonderful, he's all of this and all of that. And it's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, how will, after all of the feels and thrills are gone, does he align with your lifestyle? So it doesn't have to just be kids. It could be anything. You know the type of lifestyle. Have you created the lifestyle that you want? You know, spontaneity and all that wonderful stuff. You need some adventure in your life. Being accepted by others. You know, is that important to you, being accepted by others? Is achieving success successful to you? Is belonging, I know that was important to me, feeling like I belong. And also feeling claimed, and that's not on my list, but feeling claimed, feeling like I belong, it was very, very important to me. Being admired, is that a core need of yours? You know, and you start looking within yourself. Some of these things that I'm naming, you can look within yourself and see how it makes you feel. And that's like, Another way to figure out what your core needs are is look at previous relationships and the things that you didn't get, and you can see the repetitiveness, you know, in every other relationship that you had. If you didn't get something and you're lay up at night and say, man, why couldn't he? And you have gone through that several times, that's a core need of yours, okay? So write down your previous relationships, starting from as far back as you can remember, and see if you've experienced some of the same voids in multiple relationships. That's a core need for you. Write down why you don't feel like you are worthy or deserving. And whatever comes up first, that memory of that thing that happened, write that down. So for me, it was Marjorie Harvey. They got the secret. They running things. However, they understand the type of woman that they are. So they vetted the type of men that they wanted. They put themselves in a position. So all of the things that we've already talked about, they identified those things within themselves, and I'm deserving of a multi-millionaire. I'm deserving of a successful man. Okay? They put themselves in a position. They kept their bodies up. They look good. They present well. They look good on these men's arms. These men are very influential, powerful men. So they knew I'm the type of woman for that kind of man. So that's what they dealt with, and that's what they vetted. Okay? Am I making sense? Are y'all ready? Okay. Are y'all ready? You guys somebody want to schedule? Y'all want to? One, assess his circle. Okay. Assess his circle. Somebody say all gas. All right, let's go. Take a close look at the company he keeps. A man's circle of friends and acquaintances can provide valuable insight into his lifestyle and values. Okay. Always pay attention to see if he has any mentors in his life. Okay. Listen at how he talks about his friends. Okay. Now, when y'all get to know each other and he talking about his friends and the things that they do, pay attention to that. Now, we all got one friend that'll be doing that. Okay, because I got one of those. That one, that's we know what she gonna do, right? Good person, but we know what she gonna do. But if all of my friends, it would suggest that this is what I align with and what I feel comfortable with. So you have to consider the influence his friends may have on him and whether their behavior aligns with your expectations for a potential partner. Trina said, we need that one friend to keep us balanced. Child, listen, Trina, I have her. I've been knowing her since high school. And I'm like, Lord. And she be like, April, yeah, I did this. She's my free friend. She's my friend that's like, she's just like, no, I believe in women should have their sexual health. And I don't have to be with you to sleep with you because I've taken care of my sexual health. Period. I'm taking care of my sexual health. And every woman should take care of her sexual health. Just like eating, you eat at different restaurants because you have to eat. So our bodies require you release, and we need that. So friend, we need to be having sex, period, because sexual health is like mental health. She is that friend, honey. She will go get her some. I ain't even gonna tell no lies. And I'm like, girl, I can't do that. She's like, no, your sexual health is very important. I've never been the type that, just out there like that. But she's not out there like that. She just looks at sexual health as just important as her physical health, as well as her mental health. And according to my doctor, she's doing actually the right thing, according to my doctor. Okay, that's number two. Number one was assess his circle. Next one was verify information. Ensure that the information he provides about himself, such as his last name, age, and occupation, is accurate. Performing a background check or verifying details can help you establish trust and ensure transparency. So for those of you that were in my dating academy some years ago, you know that I didn't verify information. And I found out I was dealing with a married man. He told me he had been divorced like 4 years. He moved like he was single. So there was no reason for me to question, because if I said I wanted to see him, he was there. Alyssa said, I remember that dude. Y'all remember what was his name? We had a name for him. Delta. Because back then, all of my guys, they have, unless I like you, I don't call your name. It's like your Delta, your police officer, your NFL, your MLB, yeah, their occupation is their name, your chef, your trainer. So Mr. Delta, somebody may say, oh yeah, Mr. Delta, I was mad with him. So my ladies in my dating academy, they knew Mr. Delta because I'm probably one of the only coaches that was dating you know, and enjoying it. I learned how to enjoy dating at a different level than the ladies that I was mentoring. So I'm out here, I wasn't ready to get married, any of that. So I was showing them how I dated and how I met these wonderful guys. Well, that one, he slipped in because his whole pattern said, I'm a single. And it was so funny, a couple of my male acquaintances, when I told them, they was like, April, you didn't go to his house, you didn't do this, you did that. I said, yes, yeah, I did. I said, but why am I in the wrong? He said he had been divorced 6 years, or 6 years or 4 years, somewhere in there. And he had a 2-year relationship that recently ended. Why am I not supposed to believe that? Like, especially when your patterns and your actions are in alignment with that. And then he was dating a woman that I was out of town a lot. I think I was doing touring during that time. I was out of town a lot. So for me, if I'm dating multiples, I'm not pressed on you like that until you make yourself relevant. So I wasn't digging all into that, right? Rosin said, I had a guy show me his divorce papers that were fake. So that's why my number 2, baby, is, these jokers are something. Oh, is verified information. Verified information. It's got to verify, okay? And whether that's going on and getting a background, because one of my girlfriends, I just verified some stuff for her child. There was one guy, this happened, what, about 2 weeks ago? And I was like, no, girl, we're going to verify because he sounds too good. I mean, he was sounding good. I was excited. I'm calling her. Everything was sounding good. Child. We found out that joker was incarcerated. The site that I use, I don't remember. It starts with a B. Hold on, let me look it up. Yes, child, listen, let me tell y'all what happened. Like I said, this was 2 weeks ago. It starts with a B. Background check. I thought it started with a B. Yes, been verified. That's who I use, been verified. So let me tell y'all what happened. Everything was going good. He was sending her videos and all kind of stuff. But let me show you how good they are. He said that he was trying to get his Cash App to work. And he said, you know, my Cash App, I just set it up. Can you send me $10 to see if it's working? So she not realizing she just put money on his little account, on his books or whatever. And then after that, like he was sending her videos, and then she started noticing that the pictures that he was sending, she's like, wait, how did he go from this to all gray? That's the thing, he didn't have white walls. That's the thing. He told her he was working for the railroad. That joker was. He was on railroad duty. And so she said, I think he's in jail, April. I said, where's he from? I said, give me his name. Child, she gave me his name. I put it in, and I put his name in. And then after his name, I put docket number to see what docket number come up. He told her he had, you know, he was in jail for 30 days because of some traffic something. And I said, friend, if it was traffic, he wouldn't need all of this money on his books and all. Like he's gotten too acquainted with the system of prison. I said, because the things that you're saying, he said, that joker know way too much about how the phone calls work and all of the things that, no. And I said, friend, I looked him up within 10 minutes. I found everything I need to find. I said, okay, friend. So he got locked up July 1st, 2020. And from there, it was 2 charges of 3rd-degree theft or battery, something like that. 1 or 2 of them didn't have no parole, and then the other one, he had violated probation. So this is not that. Yes, girl, 3rd degree. 3rd degree. And I said, you text him back this. Because he said, baby, I can't wait to get out. I got 30 more days. I said, you text him back with this picture and say, it's going to be a long ass 30 days. I said, wow. I said, you text him that. He texted her back and said, you must be bored. That's old stuff. Don't contact me anymore. And he blocked her. Before that, he was baby, 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 baby every few minutes. So verify. I'm like, oh, he want to act like a female now. Just don't call me anymore. You must be bored. Lose my number. I'm like, girl, I can hear him. Lose my number. I said, just imagine how many women he played this on. I said, say he's talking to 10 women in a day doing this, and he got all 10 of y'all to send him $10. That joker is balling in the Alabama prison system. I ran his face and everything through Catfish. Hold on. Tell y'all what it is. Catfish. It was cat. Hold on. Catfish background. So I ran his face. Social catfish. That's what it's called. Social catfish. I ran his face, child, through the system. Yes, Portia, I did. I said, friend, send me all them pictures he sent you. And I ran that joker picture and it came up with immediately with like 10 pings. I was like, oh, we got something. And he got on these white shirts. That's jail. He in the jail. He in the jail. And one of the pictures pinged to mugshots.com. But the picture pinged, but I couldn't see the picture because it was whatever something was going on with the website. So mugshots.com will sometimes have their name, but not the picture. So the picture wasn't there. But when I ran this picture through catfish.com, the picture said mugshot. I was like, girl, get your $10 back. So yeah, make sure you verify. Long gone are the days that we just take people what they say. Beware of hidden marital statuses. Y'all know after I dealt with what I dealt with, I had to put that on the list. Learn from experience of others who have been deceived by hidden marital status. Pay attention to signs such as limited availability, frequent excuses, or reluctant to involve you in personal life. And I will take it a step further because my situation was he did all of that. Okay. How did I find out? This is where spirituality and discernment comes in. So how I found out is, so that Mother's Day, he disappeared. He was always around. I think we dated for like 3 months. So I never not seen him until Mother's Day. That weekend, because we hung out the day before Mother's Day and all that stuff. And he abruptly left. And I never heard from him again. Well, I heard from him, that was that Saturday. No happy Mother's Day text or anything. Tuesday, I was doing a reality show on set, and he says, Miss Mason, I know April, I've been away from you, and we really need to talk. I said, well, I'm on set right now. I get off at 10, and call me. Let's talk then. Never heard from him again. Right? I didn't trip because I wasn't heavily like in love or anything like that. We were just doing the dating. So about 2 weeks later, I was coming from somewhere and someone told me to ride by his house again because we lived in the same area. And I'm like, something's off. Got home and I was taking off my clothes and just put my clothes up, and I ran across the shirt that he left in my house because we would go golfing, and then from there he would change his clothes at my house and out of his golf clothes and put on his Delta corporate Delta stuff. And so I saw the shirt, and I don't know, it had been there for a while, and I saw a woman's name in the cleaner's tag. See, that's why that spirituality will guide you. This was 2 weeks. I hadn't heard from her or anything. 5 o'clock in the morning, something said, go check, go, let me look. And I looked in that shirt and her name was in it. And I put her name in social media, boom, she came up. I could tell I could tell he'd do this on a regular basis because of how her Facebook page was set up. And her page was entirely private, except the pictures of her and him. They weren't private. It was like letting people know this is my husband. And in that, I could decode what she was doing as a woman, right? And so I was like, okay. Yeah, making her place. And one of the pictures that I saw, I'm like, he sent me pictures from the day. And I remember I had a big event to do, and he claimed he was at work. He said, hey babe, I'm sorry I've been away from you. It's been a lot of going on at work today. No, it was your wife's birthday. That's what it was. So verify. Okay. Believe yet verify. So what you don't want to do is be that woman that automatically disqualifies a man and think everything he says is just he's just lies. You believe yet you verify. While initial appearances may suggest a single man, it's crucial to remain vigilant and observe his actions and behavior. Trust your instincts, but also verify his claims through consistent patterns of behavior and transparency. So I don't want you to go in situations automatically assuming that a man is lying, because it's easy to do. You believe what he says, but you quietly verify. Okay? You quietly verify. And if something comes up that is not favorable, you walk, or you can bring it up and say, well, you know, and just general conversation and just kind of talk and be like, you know what? I know when I was young, we used to get into all kind of stuff. Have you ever gone to jail before? And see what he says. If he lied and you know the truth already, we don't do separated men. I don't separated married in your book. We don't do separated nothing. If you separate it, you shouldn't be dating anybody. And we definitely do not date separated men. They're automatic no. No, no, and no. Next one is investigate suspicions. If you have doubt about his relationship status, don't hesitate to invest discreetly. Like I just said, subtle clues like personal belongings left behind or unusual behavior can lead you to discover the truth. The next one is assess his relationship history. Gain insight into his past relationships, including the number of children he has and the number of mothers involved. Okay. Okay. Assess his relationships. Okay. This is very, very, very important. Then evaluate his relationship with the mother of his children to gauge his level of responsibility and commitment. So when you are trying to figure out how responsible a man is and he has children, gauge him on that, because that will tell you the level of commitment and responsibility he will have toward you, because his children are very important, supposed to be very important in his life. And so you are also supposed to be very important in his life. Okay. Next one, look for disciplined behavior. Determine if he demonstrates self-discipline in various aspects of his life, such as setting goals, prioritizing responsibilities, and manages his time effectively. A man who exhibits discipline is more likely to possess qualities that contribute to a stable and successful relationship. Did y'all pick that up? Did y'all get that? You want me to repeat that? Okay, I'm gonna repeat it. Look for disciplined behavior. Determine if he demonstrates self-discipline in various aspects of his life, such as setting goals, prioritizing responsibilities, and managing his time effectively. A man who exhibits discipline is more likely to possess qualities that can contribute to a stable and successful relationship, right? Look to see exactly what he is disciplined in, okay? The next one is, 8, this is number 8. Evaluate his views on marriage. Understand his perspective on marriage and long-term commitment. Assess whether his views align with yours to ensure compatibility and shared goals. All right, so here's the deal. So many women want men who are 100% providers, but you never assess to see if he has that same belief system. Okay? Just because he's a man does not mean he believes in that. So you have to look at his views on relationships. Okay? What are his views? Because you meet a wonderful man, but then if you're looking to be a stay-at-home mom, that may not be the guy for you. All right, so you got to look at that. This goes back to what I shared with you about yourself in the first hour. What type of lifestyle do you want to live? So you have to assess what his views are on relationships before you tell him anything. Number 9. Is it number 9, I think? I may be off a little bit. Observe his network. The company a man keeps can reflect his values, aspirations, and overall character. Evaluate the quality of his friendships and whether he surrounds himself with positive influences. This is very important. Thank you, Ray. This is very important. Who a man surrounds himself with will tell you everything about him. Okay? See, when you're not about foolishness, you can't keep yourself around that when you're around foolishness. What if he's a loner? That's not good. See, we all need somebody. Can you please review numbers 1 through 8 so there's no confusion? No, ma'am. Yeah, I told y'all to catch this tea. No, I'm not going through all of them because it will put us behind. So that's why you're supposed to be writing them down. So yeah, if he's a loner, here's the thing. When a person is a loner, they do not have anyone in their life to challenge them. Nope, I can't share my screen because I don't want you guys going ahead of me. So you got to catch this tea. This is why I say you gotta be on it. Yes, so when he's a loner, everything is about what he believes, his thoughts. There's no one giving him a different perspective, and he's now stuck in his ways because he believes his way is right. It's the same for women. There should be someone in your life, which brings me to, okay, the next one, and that goes back to, what is this, number 10, 11? The significance of mentors. It ties into what I said earlier. Look for signs that he seeks guidance. So that number 11 is the significance of mentors. Look for signs that he seeks guidance and mentorship in his life. A man who values the wisdom and counsel of others demonstrates a willingness to grow and learn. So that's why being a loner is not, that's why being a loner is not the best thing. Did I just skip 10? Did I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10. Okay, that's it. So 10 is the a significance of mentors. 11 is spare time. Pay attention to how he spends his spare time as it reveals his interests, values, and personal priorities. Determine whether his hobbies and activities align with your own and reflect any type of compatibility. Okay? Look to see how he spends his spare time. Does he just go to bed? Does he have any interests? You know, look at how he spends his spare time. Is he trying to go to that next level in any way, shape, form, or fashion? These are mental notes that you can take. Okay? 12, self-development and growth. Explore his engagement in self-development activities such as reading books, attending workshops, or seeking therapy. A man who actively invests in personal growth demonstrates a commitment to becoming the best version of himself. This is big. This is big. This is big. Is he open to growing, or is he just content? Now, I'll say this. Being open to growing doesn't mean you're always looking for ways to fix yourself all the time. Okay? Portia said, applying these to yourself help you learn yourself more as well. Yes. So you can ask yourself these questions as well too. You can vet yourself. So with that, if he's open to self-development, that's a wonderful thing. But just know that self-development doesn't always mean you're in a perpetual state of fixing yourself. Because women do that too. Always in a perpetual state of fixing yourself and not being content. So what that could look like is he's like, say for instance, you have something that you're interested in and he takes interest in it. It's like, oh, I never thought about that. Tell me more about that. That's being open. It doesn't mean he's always reading a book, trying to get to that next level. He's not always trying to, elevate himself, because he might be content where he is, and where he is may be good with you. However, he's not closed-minded. Yeah, he's curious, right? So I think sometimes we take self-development too far. And we're always in a state of perpetually fixing ourselves. When we do that, we never are content with ourselves. Make sure he's an active participant in therapy if he needs therapy. Everybody doesn't need therapy. This is why vetting and understanding who this man is important. Everybody doesn't need therapy, and everybody doesn't always in self-improvement mode, because they're content with who they are. And here's the thing. The determining factor is if who they show up as to you, you're content with who they are. Okay? But therapy has become buzzwords, right? It's become buzzwords, and we don't look at, does everybody actually need that on a consistent basis? If how he's showing up to you is in alignment to what your core needs are, he doesn't need to actively be going to therapy. Okay? So we got to make sure that we are not overly striving to be perfect, because it can come across like that, as long as he's not stagnant. But here's the thing, if he's okay with who he is and you're okay with who he is, let that man be. We as women are the overdoers. Men can go to work, stay on their job for 20 years and be okay. Women are the ones that never seem to be accepting of themselves. So they will project that everybody needs to be going to therapy. Everybody needs to be doing work, doing. Men have mastered how to just be. Women have not. So we got to make sure that when you meet a man, you're not going into his life looking to see if things are broken so that you can fix them when he's content. Because especially if he's an older man, he may be content with where he's at. I done all that other stuff in the past. I'm good. I've been working on my job. I've been owning my business for 20, 30 years. I am good. I am not trying to do all this other stuff. And if you're okay with him, don't go in looking to see if he needs therapy. Only if it comes up. But you have to be in a mindset of the man that's being presented to me right now, that he's presenting himself to be, can I accept him if he never changes? Okay, that's why vetting is so important. And this list that I'm giving you, because if these things are on point and the other things that are your core needs, let that man be. If you want to fix you, fix you. That's different. But accepting a person, because you want a man to accept you as you are right now. What are your non-negotiables? I'm not telling y'all, because I need you to create your own non-negotiables so that you have to go do the inner work to figure out what you can and cannot deal with versus listening to somebody else. I have my list. I'm very aware of my non-negotiables. Yes, you have to know your non-negotiables. You have to know those. But women allow oftentimes, and I was guilty of that in the past, of trying to change men because we always want to do. After today, any man that you engage with and that you really like, and even for my married ladies that are maybe on here to learn something, can I accept what he's presenting if he never ever changes? No matter how many wonderful ideas I have, no matter how much I can see we can do this and this, if he's content, is him being content okay with who I am? Does his mere presence satisfy my core needs? Now let's pause right there for a while. Let's pause. Because sometimes a person's mere presence is your core need. It solves it with their presence. It's just like our femininity can just completely be everything a man needs without us ever having to open our mouths. So if his mere presence makes you feel whatever this thing is you need to feel that on your list of core needs, let that man be. Let that man be. And don't try to fix it. 13, emotional intelligence, baby. Assess his level of emotional intelligence through conversations about his upbringing and emotional connections. Look for signs of emotional awareness, empathy, and the ability to navigate complex emotions effectively. Now, I will say this, there is a caveat to this. Men don't connect to their emotions that deep until they meet us. Okay? Men don't connect to their emotions that deep in their vulnerability until they meet a woman who's connected to her emotions and vulnerability that deep. Okay? So, ladies, that unbothered culture gotta go. That not wanting to be vulnerable, there's levels of vulnerability. This is what that looks like. You meet a man, you're going out on your first date, and you want to show vulnerability. And he says, how long you been single, what you looking for, or something like that. You can say something like, you know what? At this stage of my life, I'm actually, although I am afraid because, you're meeting new people, that always can feel a little scary. But even with me being scary, I am open. That's base level vulnerability. You ain't gonna tell him that your mama wasn't there, your daddy died, you dealt with sexual abuse, you've been dealt with molestation, you dealt with all the stuff that I done dealt with. You ain't gotta go into that. You never want to tell a man the tragedies and how you were dogged out, because that lets them know your standard and your level of self-worth. Okay? You never. Yes, Ashley, I need you to stop oversharing, okay? You don't overshare, especially the negatives that have happened to your life. Because they're evaluating you on your standard, especially if it's been a consistent thing with you that you've been mishandled. Okay? Never. Why are you single? Well, you know what? I've been looking for anything. There's some things I wanted to get right in my life. I wanted to travel and I wanted to have a good time. And then now I'm ready to meet somebody as dope as me. That's it. That's it. We don't go into nothing else. Okay? Because men create a fantasy in their mind about who we are. You drop the seeds. You don't want to drop seeds of, I got played, I'm tired of men running over me, the disrespect. Those are seeds that you're planting. You want to plant. You see my book up there on flowers? You want to plant flower seeds. Pretty, pretty, pretty flower seeds. Because you are pretty, pretty flower, right? So you're creating in his mind, oh, she has a life, is why she's not in a relationship. Okay? Well, you didn't get cheated on, he cheated himself. No, she got cheated on. Because she got cheated on if she didn't vet him right. So yeah, she got cheated on. He was exactly what he was. We got to stop trying to make it look pretty, is what it is. Because she probably didn't vet. But I get what you're saying, Trina. But we got to stop making stuff look pretty. No, she got cheated on because he showed you who he was, even with the subtle clues, and you didn't pay attention. Speaking of subtle clues, let's get into that. You can hear what a man is not saying by his actions, okay? For instance, if you're talking about, let's say, it could be something as simple as food. And say you're a woman that doesn't like to cook, like me, I don't cook. And you're having some food and you're asking questions about what he likes and all that thing. And he says something like, yeah, my woman, cooking is very important to me. In your mind, you have to take that as a clue of, okay, he probably would want me to cook, okay? Also, listening to what is not being said means if he's not calling, he's not interested, all right? Men do what they want to do, and men do what they don't want to do. So no response is a response. Pick up on those clues. Okay? If you tell a man, a new guy on a dating site that he cheated, what it's saying, it shows that you don't assess well. It's none of their business who cheated on you. You are presenting, okay, think about it like this. Let's think about it. Because men have mastered this. They mastered it. So women tend to want to be, I just want to be so honest. I just want to share. I just want to, oh, I just want to share. I just want them to know who I want them to see me and see me for who I am, darling. Because I just want to, I'm coming to I'm 100. I'm keeping it 100. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Remember, you, my love, are planting a flower. You want them to see you as a flower. You don't want to see them to see you as a weed that people done trampled over, that people done mowed over, that people done stomped on, that people done pulled up and plucked up out the ground and threw somewhere else. You don't want them to see you like that. So stop telling them, I just want to be 100 with you. What do you tell them when you say you've been divorced twice? You can just tell them, you know what? I wasn't ready, but I'm ready now. Great then, I just wasn't ready. But anything you say, keep it as flower. And you keep it as flower, and you say something like, you know what? I wasn't ready for anything. And so I didn't show up at my best self. And now I realize, you know what? I'm finally ready. And I'm so excited to see what's out there. You always paint yourself as, and not an ugly flower, pretty flower, not a stinky flower, one that smells good. Okay? So stop all the talking. Hush if you're not going to paint yourself in a good light. Yes, a pretty floaty flower, dog. Hush. Because remember, men fall in love in our absence. We fall in love in their presence. Yeah, she said pretty flower activated. Activation, okay? So if men fall in love in our absence, that means they're thinking about something. Do you want him thinking of you based on how many times you've been played? No, don't want that. So your answers have to be in a way that puts you in a beautiful light. Taking accountability, but you don't go in telling them all of that, because they show us hell and not gonna tell you how many hearts they have broken, which is a question that my good friend Jack Daniels taught me to ask years ago. He said, April, one of the questions that you should ask a man, and y'all can write this down, I give you this one extra, is ask him how many women has he hurt and see how he responds. How many women have you hurt? And the follow-up question is, why did you do it? How many women have you hurt? And how many, and why did you do it? This is not something that you ask like an interrogation. Everything that I'm telling you, sharing with you ladies, it's not in an interrogation style. Okay? It's more so conversational. When you know yourself, it's not even, see this, y'all see, I see y'all in the comments, if you're looking for strategy, is it a third day question? Is it this question? Is it? Take that off the table. When you're connected spiritually, sensuality and femininity, you are flowy. You will know when to ask that question. Okay? This is not a like a textbook. It has to be free flowy. This is why what I taught you in the first hour is so important. It's so important. It's not like a checklist. Boom, 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 boom. It could be a first date and the conversation is going amazing. You know what, Brad, I got some nasty. You gonna be honest with me? Keep it light, keep it fun. You gonna be honest with me? I don't know. You say you honest, but let me ask you something. While we eat this cheesecake, darling. What you want? What you want, April? Are you okay? Here it is. How many women would you say that you actually hurt? Huh? No, for real. Like, I mean, because we all have done something to folks, intentionally or intentionally. I don't know. But how many women, in this case, I'm asking, do you know that you hurt? Like, how many hearts do you know you broke intentionally? Well, depending on his answer, will let you know if he takes accountability or if he does not. And then when he answers, if he takes accountability, you say, now there's a follow-up question. I know. But here's a follow-up question. Why do you think you hurt them? Why do you think you did that? And if he goes into, you know what, I was young and all that, and he's talk about how he's grown, keep going. You go out with him again. If he says, like one I asked him, I said, so what do you think, this is another question that I asked, what do you think you could have done better to in your marriage? That's another one. And I had a guy tell me, I don't think I would change anything or did anything. I did it. He don't take any accountability for the fall of his marriage. I was like, ooh, Even if the accountability would have been something like, what I learned about myself is I gave too much, because he's a big giver. I gave too much. And one of the things that I would have changed is I would have had more boundaries within myself and not just give everything that I have to the point to where I'm being disrespected. Even that answer is taking responsibility. All right. So I was like, okay. Next one, that was a bonus one. That was, we did 13 already. So 14 is self-motivation. Evaluate whether he possesses self-motivation to pursue his goals and dreams. Okay. A man who is internally driven and proactive in pursuing personal and professional growth is likely to be more successful and capable of bringing that drive into the relationship. And he gonna go get some more. I remember dating a guy that made it. He told me up front, I'm not ambitious like that. But he was the same guy that complained about his job that he's been on for 20 years. But he wasn't ambitious. So you're not gonna come home every single day, because that's where my mind went. If he's telling you, April, that he's really not an ambitious guy, and he's a complainer on top of that, oh child, he's gonna come home every day harassing you. Next one is communication skills. 15, observe his communication style and how effectively he expresses himself. Look for active listening skills, the ability to express emotion and thoughts clearly and willingness to engage in open, honest communication. Now, let me say this, let me give this disclaimer. Most men are not the best at communicating. It's just what it is. They're just and that's just what it is. I'd make it up, they're just not. However, if he goes out of his way to communicate, then work with. My ex he was a good communicator for, I realized he's a good communicator for his occupation, because he was a mega pastor. So he was amazing at communicating with the people. But interpersonal connections like he and I had, he wasn't the best. Well, he knew the things that I liked. So when he wanted to communicate or show me he's apologetic or something like that, he would come by and he would bring me a box of See's candy, because he know I love See's candy. So look at how a man communicates. Men will not always communicate in the same way that we do, right? And so we have to understand that we are so verbal, we're more expressive than they are. But I realized with my ex that to the world, he's the man. but that there's a difference, you know, because you don't have to come home to them. Okay. So you got to pay attention to that. And then you also have to pay attention to how he communicates with you. Just because it may not be in a way that you're accustomed to, it doesn't mean he's not communicating. Okay, so you have to be very careful about that. And then if he's open, because here's the thing, women, especially my married ladies, get so mad when their husbands don't do what they ask them to do. And I'm like, because you're not communicating it properly. You can't tell that man, baby, can you take out the garbage? And then be mad 3 hours later because it's not taken out. You have to say, babe, can you take the garbage out now or before 5 o'clock? You have to put, you have to be very, put timestamps pretty much on these jokes. Very specific, because men are straightforward. She said, can you take the garbage out? She didn't say when. I know you've noticed that with my sons, they do that. She didn't say when. And they'll take their time. So you can save yourself a lot of frustration. Yes, they need them parameters. Like little kids. Like little kids, like little boys. Pick up your toys now, baby Charlie. Baby Charlie, before you leave Granny's house, can you put your toys away? See those two different ones, now and before you leave? So he knows in this moment he doesn't have to put them away, but he knows before he leaves he has to. So we have to know how to say what we're saying in that communication, and also pay attention to see where his communication level is. I remember dealing with someone, he's a really sweet guy, but he didn't have intellectual maturity, and it drove me nuts. As amazing as he was, I had to let that man alone, because I'm like, his IQ in the conversations we were having were really low, and I realized why that was. To him, where he's from, he was a big fish in a small pond. So I come along and have had life experiences. He had never left his city. He's that dude around where he lives. Well, I didn't live in California. I'm born and raised in California. Been around the city I've explored. I've lived in Texas. I've lived in Atlanta. I've lived in Charlotte. I mean, like, I've been around. I've explored. So with that, you have to understand, that would have driven me up the wall, because his intellectual maturity is low. It's like he wanted to always show me he knew something, but it was lower tier. It's like, boy, we didn't already pass that. Like, what are you talking about? And he think he's telling me something. I'm like, child, this ain't news. But I didn't say that, but I started realizing, you're a big fish in a small pond where you are. So no one has been there to challenge or expand you. So now you think you demand it over here, when it's like, April, he would drive you crazy with his low level of intelligence and his inability to actually want to learn, because he thinks you know. Next one is financial responsibility. Discuss his approach to finances and determine if he demonstrates responsible financial habits. Look for signs of budgeting, saving, and managing debt, as these factors can significantly impact your relationship stability. Check out how he spends money. Okay? How does he manage money? Start paying attention. So you can find these things out early on. You can ask questions like, okay, if you had, say somebody walked in this restaurant and just handed you a bag of money and it was $1 million, what would you do? How would you handle that? Make everything that I'm giving you light, airy, inquisitive, but fun. Maybe put a little humor on it to get what you need to get out. Okay? This is not done like reading off a list like we're doing right now. You intertwine these things, whichever ones are the most important. You don't have to ask all of them all in one night, but you intertwine these things in regular conversation that you all might be having on the phone, or you might be out to dinner and are out just enjoying each other's company. Weave it in that way. Do not interrogate, because now it becomes strategic and you check it off a list. And I need you to be open, and I need you to feel what his answers, how they make you feel. When he said this, it made me feel like this. Why does this make me feel like this? What in me did he trigger? So it's not just a boom, boom, boom. No, I'm going to sit in his answers, even if it's not in that moment, but I'm going to rethink those when I get home or get in my car. And in the ones that made me feel a certain way, I'm going to ask myself, why did his answer make me clam up? What was it? Was it he doesn't sound stable enough, or he's not have enough emotional intelligence? Like, what gives me this ick that I feel, or this I don't feel ease with this, That's how you have to approach that. So you have to feel everything. This is not intellectual, because here's the thing. Our bodies will know before our mind does. Have you ever met somebody you just felt comfortable with? Your body just felt comfortable with. You can't figure out why. You just do. So our body can pick up on things a lot faster than our mind can. So don't just check these things off of a list. Make sure that you feel them, and anything that comes up that makes you feel uncomfortable with the answer, get a journal and write those things down. And when you're writing those things down, you might find that it's not his answer, it's what his answer represented to you, and it might be an unhealed part of you. So you might not want to throw them away just yet. Okay. Next one is conflict resolution. Gauge his approach to handling conflict and disagreements. This is huge. Assess whether he is willing to address issues calmly, find compromise, and work towards resolution rather than resorting to aggression, avoidance, or its my way only. This is very important. Watching how a person handles conflict is huge. It's probably one of the biggest things on this list. You don't want someone that doesn't know how to maturely handle conflict, because if you watch how they handle things, and one of the other things, I don't know if it's on this, I don't think it's on the list, but I would say it anyway. I pay attention to how no, it's not on the list, but I'll throw this one in there. I pay attention to how a person handles people that are serving us. One of the things with my ex, he was horrible at treating servers and people beneath him. And I started paying attention to that. And I'm like, why would you know they're serving our food, right? Like, why would you do that? So pay attention to how they handle conflict, especially when they're out and about and say somebody mess up your food. See if they go off, or see if they are a little like, you know what, it's okay, things happen. But can you just take the order back and bring me something different? See how they handle it. As well as while you're seeing how they handle that, see how they handle people that are serving them. I can't stand people who mistreat others in my presence, unprovoked. That just drives me crazy. The next one is respect for boundaries. This is important. Pay attention to how he respects your boundaries and communicates his own. Healthy boundaries are essential for a successful relationship to ensure that he understands and respects them. Boundaries are so important. But here's the key. You have to set your own boundaries within yourself first. If you don't know your own boundaries, you will get mad at a man for overstepping something that you did not establish. A lot of women do that. I can't believe he should know better. Why? You never shown in your actions and how you present yourself that doing this would not be acceptable. The only, I can't give you boundaries unless you have to know your core needs. That's what I'm saying. I can give you a list of things, but I just don't want you to give you a list of things and you just take it as is, and then a man disrespects or steps over another boundary and you feel it, and it's like you still don't know how to answer that. So in order to establish your boundaries, it goes back to your core needs to identify what bothers you, right? What don't you want a person doing to you? Okay. So that's why it's so important. Like I said, I can give you a whole list of stuff, but what I notice anytime I do that, women don't typically go within, they go off the general boundaries list that I give. And I want you to go within to get to know yourself. What boundaries do I have that a man just cannot cross? Period. Ashley said, ouch, guilty of this. I know y'all be guilty. Y'all be wanting a list. But if you go within, that's your list. Look at in the past, whether it was relationships or friendships, when you felt like your boundaries were crossed. Look at that. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, it's very important. You can give us the list, Miss April. We did identity switch. We know our core needs now. Then if that's the case, I don't need to give you the list. Okay, I really don't. If you made an identity switch, everyone here has not made an identity switch, or they're new to me. But it's very important. Okay, for all of you that with all your questions, we are doing a live Q&A after we get finished with this, and I will be open to answering all of your questions over there. But your boundaries, only you can set your boundaries. Only you. What's important to you? What can a man do that make you walk away immediately? Yes, Ms. Brown, she said, this is homework for myself. Yes. Is the Q&A here on Zoom? Just confirming the Q. Yes, it is. You got the email. The email was sent to you. If you got the VIP, the email was sent to you with both Zoom links. So it's imperative that you ask yourself, what makes me feel uncomfortable when people do certain things to me? What standards do I have for myself that no matter what, these standards will not go anywhere? This is who I am. Period. That takes a dive in deep. Your boundaries are your invisible boundaries. If a person steps over your boundaries, but there you can tell they just didn't know, you can share that with them using feminine language. But here's the thing, when you embrace your femininity, you don't have to worry about if you should verbalize your boundaries that were crossed, because femininity comes with boundaries. So do we ask what their boundaries are? No, you don't. You pay attention to the man and you'll be able to figure that out, the majority of them. They will tell you, they will show you what their boundaries are. So when you get to asking a bunch of, what's your boundaries, what's your boundaries, what's your boundaries, that's strategy. I'm saying study the man, study your target. It's very imperative. You cannot treat what I'm teaching you today like strategy. It's like you're studying for a test and you're trying to learn everything you can. What they say and what they don't say is what you're trying to learn. This is why spirituality, going in to get spiritually in tune, is so important. You don't go in looking at what you can get. Okay? You're trying to see if he qualifies for the next level. Okay? You have an invisible mental checklist, but the checklists are things that you're checking off based upon your core needs, based upon your boundaries. Okay? So you can't even have a checklist if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your standards, you don't know what you value, nor do you understand your core needs. It doesn't work. Okay? And when a man asks you, what are you looking for? You don't say, I'm looking for marriage. Mm-mm. No, you say, well, what I say is I'm looking for somebody wonderful and kind, because there's certain traits that come with being a kind individual. I don't have to list all of these characteristics because you have a certain, the word kindness and a kind person comes with a certain set of traits. That's somebody amazing. What is that to you? Well, I'll know it when I see it. I'll know it when he shows up. Yes, I don't get no playbook. Somebody amazing, huh? Mm-hmm. So then at that point, they're trying to find out if they are that amazing person. He calls you too late and you sleep. Oh, and next day, oh, I called you yesterday. Oh yeah, I go to bed around 10 o'clock. You just set a boundary. He knows not to call you after 10. It's not a list of things. It come when they come up, you share them. But it's how you, oh yeah, I don't do that after a certain time. Yeah. I have to get my beauty rest. No, I gotta stay beautiful, don't I? Because this list is gold, so and so opening, helpful, and I'm Denise Witch. You're so welcome. So it's very important that you learn that there is no rush. You don't have to overshare. You are in the driver's seat, okay? You are in the driver's seat. 19, family dynamics. Observe his relationship with his family and how he interacts with them. Understanding his family dynamics can provide insight into his values, communication patterns, and potentially challenges in forming a future family. So now, child, listen. Even though a person's background, family dynamic may not be the best, you're vetting them to see if they did the growth, they've taken accountability. One of the other values that I gave you. I mean, one of vetting things to pay attention to that I gave you. So just because he might not have come from the type of home you may have. Now, it's best to have somebody that's more in alignment with you, but don't disqualify them if you're vetting them to see if they know how to be in a relationship because they've done their self-development work, which is also on the list. So that's why that vetting part is so important. Okay? That vetting part is extremely important because think about it. A lot of women were not raised with fathers. Do you want somebody to disqualify you just because you weren't raised with a father, but you've done the inner healing work to rectify that void? Okay. So you have to pay attention closely. Like you have to literally pay attention real close to see what his relationship is. Does he take care of his mom, or is he a mama's boy? Is he a man that his mother talks to him crazy, so he tries to provoke so he can get you to talk to him crazy because that's what he knows? Did he see his father be abusive and now he's abusive? So you have to learn and pay by paying attention. Okay, you have to pay attention to what's being said and what's not being said. So with that, it's on you. This is why, ladies, even though I'm sharing this stuff with you, it's imperative that you sink down into your femininity, your spirituality, as well as your sensuality, and I will even add your wisdom. Gain more wisdom, read more books, connect with other women who are more seasoned women than you. Connect with them, because you will know the difference when you connect between a mama's boy and a mama taking care of a man taking care of his mom. There's distinct differences. And even if he doesn't come out and say it, you're vetting, you're paying attention. Does he drop me for every time his mama calls? Or does he have boundaries? It goes back to what I said earlier about checking out his boundaries. But a lot of what I'm putting down, you have to go within yourself in order to assess. Okay? Does he have boundaries? So everything that I shared with you today, run it past yourself first. What are your boundaries? Okay. What are your boundaries? What's your emotional intelligence? What's your way of conflict resolution? What's your family dynamic? And the last one is shared values and future goals. Discuss important topics such as marriage, children, career aspirations, and lifestyle choices. Ensure that your values and long-term goals align to foster a strong foundation for fulfilling relationship. Now, let me say this. You don't get to this part until you've assessed that he's somebody you might want to move forward with. Okay. You don't go out on your first date trying to find out if you're trying to have kids, if you're trying to do this, if you're trying to, no, you're trying to see who this individual is, period. Don't get so caught up, ladies, in your agenda to get to the end, whether it's the baby, whether it's the ring, whether it's the relationship. Don't get so caught up in that because you lay back. You're a very sought after woman, okay? You are a woman of standards, you're quality, you have everybody after you. So you don't have to try to lock somebody in or make them the one. Understand that just because they look good on paper doesn't mean they'll look good in your life. All right? Calm it down, slow it down, okay? You are walking around as the big prize, the big bear that 4 or 5 people got to carry, not the itty bitty little starfish stuffed animal that's hard as hell when you pinch it. It's supposed to be stuffed stuffy animal, but it's hard. No, it's all, you don't want to be that. Yes, you don't want to be the keychain. All right? But I find that women go too far in this checklist thing, trying to check it off the list because they are trying to get their goal, whatever their goal is, they're trying to reach it. Right? They're trying to reach it. I want to do, I want to do what I want to do. And, that's it. That's all. I got my own agenda. No. You slow walk this thing in. I'm not saying, when I say slow walk, I'm not saying that you're not active and a participant. No, you slow walk it in. Okay? That's what you do. You slow walk it in, because you're not in a hurry, because you always have quality options in your face. Okay? You always have quality options in your face chasing you and want to be a part of your life, because you've learned how to vet yourself. You've learned what your core needs are. You learned what your standards are. Okay? And this is so important. So because of that, you can qualify or disqualify a man easily. But it starts with you getting to know you first. Everything that I shared in this live, I want you to take it and run it past yourself. All right? Run it past yourself before you start checking off this list. All right? Did you ladies gather anything from our time together? Okay, did y'all get anything? And for those of you who actually want to take this to the next level, there's two things that I have for you. Well, one, I don't have it for you. I personally don't have it for you. But I'm going to share my screen with you. And my son-in-law, when I told him I was doing this, he's like, Miss April, this is going to be good. He said, but I actually want to go in and go even deeper with the ladies from a man's perspective. I said, really? He said, yes. So let me share my screen with you and take a listen. Some of you say you can't hear him? Oh, no audio. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can do it this way. Hold on. Let me see if I can press pause on my end. Okay, let's see. No sound? Okay, hold on. It says one person.
So my mother-in-law has taught you how to vet a man. But what comes next? Well, this is where I come in. Join me tomorrow as I help you get the man you want to marry you. I have a live course tomorrow